Welcome to Bee's Travelogue, episode 38. The forecasted rains finally arrived on days 3 and 4. Tourists determined to see Seoul no matter what venture forth with umbrellas. Our Airbnb had umbrellas we could borrow, so we headed out to go to the National Folk Museum. This is the day we found out that it's actually not inside the palace but next to the palace. We paid to get in and then had to leave to go to the museum. However, the museum was free, so we just considered it a donation. Inside the museum, a woman came up to us. She said she was a volunteer and would show us the museum for free. She had said it would take about an hour, but we ended up going around for about 2 hours. She was wonderful and explained everything so that we got way more out of our visit than we would have on our own, even though the descriptions are in English. We got a personal touch with her stories, where we understood more of why things were done a certain way and how Korean people feel about them. We learned about the hats, the hanboks, the material that was used to make them. We learned about a special paper that was being made in South Korea that I had not heard about, that is being used all around the world in restoring ancient manuscripts. I learned a lot about Korean traditions on this visit and learned a lot of things that would come in very handy during my travels later as I was exploring South Korea. If you watch a lot of K-dramas, and especially the old ones playing in the Joseon period, you'll find a lot of items in this museum that are familiar, and you'll learn a lot about their usage. Here are different outfits against the rain and kimchi. Already in Thailand, I had seen museums use videos to illustrate parts of life in the country, and here again a video was used to show the different seasons in a home. Here are children dressed for celebration and a close-up of rice cakes. The exhibits changed from focusing on items to focusing on occasions, such as what do Koreans do for a birth, a birthday, a wedding, or when somebody dies. For a rainy day in South Korea, and there may be a lot during the monsoon season, I definitely recommend going to one of the museums. We were hungry and headed to a Michelin star restaurant. There was a line, but people were waiting underneath an awning. We finally got our turn and got this beautiful kimchi and kalguksu, and my daughter ordered dumplings. This seems to be some kind of traditional Korean game, but I haven't figured out yet what the children are actually doing. I've seen paintings of it as well. We took my mom back to the Airbnb for some rest, and then my daughter and I took the subway to go to Gangnam and the COEX Mall. For K-drama lovers, the Starfield Library in the COEX Mall is a place they absolutely have to visit. It is a real public library, but of course there are a lot of tourists taking photos. If you're a regular to Bee's Travelogue, you know I was here in December and there was a huge Christmas tree and a light show. My daughter and I walked around the mall a little bit. There were a lot of restaurants. I showed her where the aquarium was, and then we took the subway to Gwangjang Market. By then, it was pouring buckets, but the market was inside a huge hall. We walked around several times looking at the various food items, all of them very interesting, and even tried a few. My daughter had marshmallow ice cream, and we bought custard-filled fish and brought some for my mom. As it was our last evening together, we went out for a little pub visit with some French fries and soju. These were the best French fries I ever had. The next day, we had to check out of our Airbnb. We could have left our suitcases, but decided to take them and put them in lockers at the subway station. After dropping off the suitcases, we took the subway to Hongdae. Hongdae is one of those areas popular with young people, with lots of restaurants and cafes, very colorful. It was still raining a little bit, so we headed into a cafe, a Korean one, not this one with the bagels, and had some wonderful coffee while we exchanged photos. We then took the subway back to Namdaemun Market, which is near the Seoul train station. Even though it was raining, there were quite a few people out and about. Lots of colorful umbrellas, lots of Koreans, but also lots of tourists shopping and having fun. We were shopping and trying to figure out what to eat when my daughter stood in line for a hot dog. A tall man from the World Taekwondo Federation welcomed her to South Korea and handed her his business card. There were a lot of food stands that were selling prepared hot food, but you could also buy fresh fruits and fish. My mom had some lunch, and then we took the bus to Itaewon. Itaewon is famous for several reasons. It's an area with many restaurants and very tight alleys, and it's very popular with young people. There was also a Korean drama called Itaewon Class that's very popular and quite good, even though it has a few flaws. Lately, Itaewon is known for the terrible crowd crash that happened here on a Halloween night 2 years ago, where over 150 young people lost their lives. It was time for us to collect our suitcases and head to the airport. We had a Turkish döner lunch and then took the subway. I was very surprised to find that these doors here had writing in Thai. We collected our suitcases and then stood and waited for the bus that would take us to the airport. It takes about 50 minutes to get from Seoul to Incheon Airport, and we arrived with plenty of time. We checked in the suitcases and then had a very nice dinner together. And then it was time for them to board their plane and for me to wait for the bus to take me back to Mokpo. It was sad heading back by myself, but I had a lot of fun. Thank you for watching.